Sunshine State taking aim at BlackRock, yanking $2 billion from what Florida's CFO calls the investment firm's, quote, social engineering project. Fox Business's Jerry Willis is here with all of the latest. This is a great story, by the way.
It's amazing, Cheryl. And if you're worried about your retirement, listen up. The backlash to woke investing is building. Florida announcing plans to divest $2 billion in funds overseen by financial giant BlackRock over environment, social, and governance. That's what they call those ESG policies. It's the biggest such divestment by a state to date. Florida is just the latest state to make the decision to buck BlackRock, putting the total investments at over $4 billion being yanked. Florida CFO Jimmy Patronis saying that he has lost confidence in BlackRock's ability to generate returns for his state watch.
At the end of the day, I need a business partner. I need somebody who's looking out for the bottom line of the citizens of the state of Florida. If somebody wants to influence policy, they should go run for office, go give money, their money, to those charities to influence it, but not use the taxpayers of Florida's money to do this. I need a good return for the next generation of Floridians.
Even so, that money a drop in the bucket to the firm, which manages $8 trillion. For its part, BlackRock says its returns on behalf of Florida, well, it's been strong, they say. Quote, fiduciaries should always value performance over politics. Now, typically, it's been interpreted to mean fiduciary role, that is, to mean money managers chase the best performing assets regardless of sector. But ESG puts social policies first. That gets to the heart of the debate. Is ESG a good investment? Now, if you look at the numbers, it might not be. Using an ESG strategy, oil and gas, for example, de-emphasized or even avoided because of climate concerns. Had you done that this year, though, you would have missed out on the only positively performing sector in the S&P 500, which fell 14%. The energy sector was up 63%. Now, the Biden administration pushing ESG. Just last week, the Labor Department finalized a rule that empowers retirement plan sponsors to invest based on those principles. You just can't avoid ESG. Executive pay now is influenced by these ESG policies, according to a new survey from the Conference Board. Another survey showing 60% of investing professionals expect ESG to become the standard. Cheryl?
I love BlackRock's response to all of this. Quote unquote, quality investments. Their response didn't say great investments, strong return investments, quality investments. Larry Fink maybe he's been vocal, fine, but the other states have already done this. Right. Other states have said we're not going to invest this way. And Florida's talking about next year.
It's a trend, and it's gaining a lot of momentum here.
I mean, look at our portfolios this year. We need,
we need help.
We need help. We need to make more money. Jerry, thank you very much. All right, let's get reaction now from Strive Asset Management Executive Chairman and Nation of Victims author Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek, what do you make of this whole controversy?
So, look, I think that this is a step in the right direction for Florida. States, people forget, are not just regulators. They're not just policymakers. They're also market actors, investing the money of their citizens and their constituents in the economy. And they're investing via firms that historically have used their capital to advance one-sided political agendas. Now, here's what I'll say is, as you pointed out, this is a drop in the bucket. And the real problem isn't necessarily just BlackRock using funds to invest in certain kinds of companies but not others. That's a tiny portion of the total problem characterized by ESG funds. The real problem is using all of the other equity investments that they make, but using their voting power, their shareholder votes, their proxy votes, their voice to speak on behalf of everyday citizens to advance politicized policies in the boardrooms that most of those citizens disagree with. And I'm sorry to say that I don't think this move by Florida is going to do much to move the needle on that, because this is from the Treasury Department. My understanding is that's mostly fixed income securities, cash. What we really need is large equity investments moving away from BlackRock and other politicized firms towards firms that are able to actually bring a pro-fiduciary, pro-excellence voice into the boardroom.
Look, our screen right now, $794 million from BlackRock. That's Louisiana. Florida, $2 billion. We talked about it. Missouri, $500 million. South Carolina, $200 million. So I'm glad that we've got that graphic ready to go to show you. And by the way, Florida says next year they are going to look at other money managers. To be clear here, ESG is not going away, to your point, but I go back to the woke investing. And I look at Disney, and I look at what happened to Disney's stock price, what happened to Disney in Florida, and now with Bob Iger coming back and taking the reins once again, saying he wants to take politics out of the business. Is there a pushback, do you think?
Of course there's a pushback. I mean, this is a big part of been my focus over the last couple of years. It's why I founded Strive. I think the cultural tides are changing in corporate America. You take a look at Netflix coming to not only Dave Chappelle's defense, but to the defense of excellence in artistic creation.
Sure.
You take a look at Bob Chapek being ousted. I mean, I sent a letter on behalf of Strive to the board of directors of Disney asking about their oversight of Bob Chapek's decisions. So I think there's the beginning of a cultural tide moving in that direction. A big part of that, I believe, was some of the economic hardship this year, including borne by companies like Netflix that reported poor quarterly results before they changed their cultural tune.
Yeah.
And so I'm optimistic, but I think it's going to take more market actors, more executives, more board members to actually exhibit courage. And what we've seen in the last few years is that fear has been infectious in corporate America. Fear has been contagious. Well, you know what I say? Courage can be contagious, too. And there's even an economic opportunity to capture for the companies who actually do behave with pro-fiduciary courage.
We have to move on to these other topics because I got to ask you about Apple and Tim Cook. But final thought on this topic is that companies need to be focusing on business, not on politics. Okay, Tim Cook. He refused to comment on the protests in China. He's taken a lot of heat over the company reportedly limiting the reach of that airdrop feature for protesters in China. Watch Hillary Vaughn go after him.
Hi, Mr. Cook. Do you support the Chinese people's right to protest? Do you have any reaction to the factory workers that were beaten and detained for protesting COVID lockdowns? Do you regret restricting airdrop access that protesters used to evade surveillance from the Chinese government? Do you think it's problematic to do business with the Communist Chinese Party when they suppress human rights?
Vivek, what do you think?
I've said it before, I'll say it again. Tim Cook is a circus monkey that jumps to the tune of its master, that is the CCP, sitting in Beijing. And here's why. Apple's entire supply chain for producing its products depends on China. They're economically tethered to China, and if they criticize the CCP, they will lose their ability to be a leading business. Now, we were just talking about the fact that companies should focus on their products, not on politics. And I want to point out, I don't want to be hypocritical here. The problem, though, is Apple's hypocrisy. In the United States, it will preach and wax eloquent about social injustice, committing over $100 million to racial equity and fighting other forms of social injustice here in the United States, calling on its company to do a racial equity audit without actually saying a peep about the true human rights atrocities in China, in the Xinjiang region, elsewhere, and even how their own products and their own technology is used to advance that objective for the CCP. And I think consumers in the United States deserve to see through that charade. But I also think this is a growing job for U.S. policymakers to understand that this is not just Apple, the largest company in the world. This is many companies in the U.S. that have been deputized as Trojan horses to advance the CCP's geopolitical agenda and to create a false moral equivalence between the U.S. and China by relentlessly criticizing injustice here in the U.S. while staying silent about it abroad over there. And I view that as a big national security threat that we need to wake up to in this country.
Yeah, I can think of a lot of companies that fall under that umbrella, Vivek. Thank you very much for the commentary. Appreciate it.
Thank you.